Hello everyone. I thought I'd do a short video on pendulums and the use of pendulums, how to cleanse your pendulums. I love using pendulums in my own life, and I thought that I might share how I've come about to use pendulums with you, so you might be wanting to perhaps go and explore the many uses of pendulums. But firstly, what is a pendulum? Pendulum, in the sense that I've been using them and many people do, is an object basically suspended by a string, chain, cord, and they come in all different shapes and sizes. So you can get the flash hairy ones, which are the chain and the beautiful crystal on the end. I've got a couple of examples here for you. I've made this one myself. So suspended a beautiful pendulum, crystal pendulum, on the end of some delicate chain to create a pendulum. Here's another one. Again, another chain with a beautiful clear quartz crystal on the end of it. Just a couple of more other ones. So the ones I've shown you just then were pendulums using crystals. I have another pendulum which I've got on me all the time, is my necklace. It's certainly not a crystal, but it can still be used, for a pendulum, and I use this one quite often. Just on a bit of cord. It's my necklace, and again, heavier object suspended on the end of a piece of cord. So you might want to, create your necklace to be a pendulum that you carry around with you all the time. And I'm just going to show you a simple way of making a pendulum if you haven't got a necklace that you want to use, or crystals that you may not like crystals. So you can just suspend. I've got a bead here. It's just a wooden bead. You can get some lovely beads out there nowadays. So you might have a favourite bead that you would like to see if you can create your own pendulum. And this is just a bit of wool. I've been doing a bit of crocheting lately. So I've cut up a bit of wool, just creating my own wooden bead pendulum. It's easy as that. And if you've got a lot of beads, you could perhaps even fancy it up by threading some more of your beautiful beads through the cord or on the cord. And there you have it. You have your own pendulum, a heavier device hanging on a cord string. And many of you might know the old wives' tale about hanging a ring on a piece of hair to test the sex of the baby before it's born, hanging the pendulum in the front of the mother's belly and seeing which way it will swing to indicate whether it was a male or female. So pendulums have been used for decades and decades, and being used for a whole range of things, like that example I just said, checking out the sex of the baby, unborn baby, through to channeling your higher self or your spirit guides, through to using them in healing work, or simply just having a conversation and with your pendulum, which in a later video I'll record and show you how I've been doing that, using pendulums to channel spirit. But for now, I wanted to talk about different types of pendulums, which we've had some examples there. And if you're going to be using a crystal pendulum, you may be thinking, well, what type of crystal? How do I choose my crystal pendulum? Let it choose you. So if you're wandering around the shop, beautiful shops out there with lots of crystals, whether it's crystal pendulum or you're wanting to find a crystal to create your own pendulum, just before you walk into the shop, just say, right, take a couple of breaths and just lay the intention that the crystal that is right for you will find you, will draw your attention, so that you can come out of the shop with the most perfect pendulum right for you. And then just go in the shop, wander around, see what attracts you, hold it in your hand, yes, no, and then eventually you will come out with just the right crystal for you to begin to enjoy using for your pendulum work. As easy as that. Then the next part of that journey with the crystal, you can get straight in using it. There's a few things I would suggest that you do and continue to do after, when you start to become one with your pendulum. One of the first things is after you've chosen your pendulum is to cleanse it. And that doesn't matter whether it's a crystal pendulum or a wooden pendulum that you're using. Cleanse, cleanse, cleanse. Always cleanse. Cleanse before you begin to use your pendulum, and cleanse after you've used your pendulum. How to do that? There's a number of ways that you can use to cleanse your pendulum. I'll suggest a few for you now. Perhaps try a few. See what you feel works best for you and your pendulum. So, one of the first things you can do, and you might be familiar with using smudging as an option to cleanse a room, to cleanse yourself, your aura. You can use it to cleanse your pendulum as well. And that's as simple as either getting some incense or your favourite type of a smudge stick. I've made this one myself. This comes with ingredients from my garden, rosemary and orange leaf. But anyway, either one, where you get the nice little cone shaped incense as well. So you just simply light it, get some smoke happening from it. This one is a white sage incense. I also use nag champa, and then at the end of the day, it's what, use your favourite smell. Why not? Okay, so with a bit of smoke going, allow that smoke to move around your pendulum. And smoke, through the decades again, used by many cultures as a means to move away any negativity, any energies, lower vibrations that might have stuck to the item or within the energy of the item, this one being a crystal. And of course, if you want, you can make this into a ritual and be saying in your mind, I now totally cleanse, clear the energy of my pendulum, clearing away all negative energies, lower vibrations, opening up a glorious pathway, a clear pathway for my pendulum use. So be it. And there we go. A beautiful, highly cleansed, through the use of smudging, pendulum. Another practice you can do is laying your pendulums in a bed of salt. I use rock salt. Be mindful of the type of crystal. If you've got crystal, some crystals you can't have near salt. Cover it up, put it in the salt, leave it for a day. And again, the salt does what the smoke does and drags out all that should not be in your darling little pendulum, and it will have it ready for use. The other thing you can do is, I have a beautiful citrine cluster here, which I lay my pendulums on. This one's always in my healing room, and that will cleanse and charge for me my pendulums. There are another means of cleansing. A lot of people, a lot of books, if you start really exploring the use of pendulums, they talk about sticking your pendulums out in the full moon. And that's not a practice I use. I stick my pendulums out in the new moon for new beginnings. It's a lighter, much more positive energy. to me, and from my studies, as far as the energies of the moon have the electromagnetic fields that are produced by the moon have a negative vibration, if you like. The ions that are produced have a negative effect, particularly on humans. If I'm going to be using or drawing upon the power of the full moon, I would do that on the days before, the evenings before. So in saying that, if you're drawn to do your full moon practices, by all means do it, and enjoy using your and cleansing your pendulums that way. And of course you can also hold them in your hands and have that sense that you are drawing in beautiful energy through your hands and cleansing and clearing the pendulum. You can use your breath, the life force energy that comes in on the breath through the chi. Cleansing away that beautiful pendulum that you've got in there. I've probably forgotten a couple. Water, I don't know if I've said the water, but I'm sure your research will help you, and your beginning your path to use the pendulum will take you to the processes that work perfectly for you and your new friend, the pendulum. So that's got us started. Before the next video in how to use, I would suggest also, now that you've purchased your pendulum, you've cleansed it, before we start to use your pendulum, we need to connect with it. So how do you connect with it? Carry it around with you for a while. It's your friend. Carry it around for a close, hang it around your neck if it happens to be your necklace, carry it in your pocket, or somehow place it, so if you've got a pouch that you wear, stick it in the pouch so it's close to the heart space. Somehow wear it close to you so that you have that merging of energies. Your little pendulum will soon become a very close friend to you. So give it your loving and your warmth. Allow that bonding to begin to happen before we start using it. And then you can continue to do that all the time. Once you start using your pendulum, you're probably going to be carrying it around with you all the time. So I hope you've enjoyed that first little bit of a chat on pendulums, and I look forward to seeing you and talking a bit more about beginning to use it and getting familiar with how to use it before we start channeling directly. So for now, find yourself a pendulum, give it a good cleanse, and let's get ready for the journey into using pendulums. Thank you for watching. Soul blessings.